Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back once again, and for the very first time, to the Farts and Crap Show, where today, as per usual, it's your host, Anjo, here with another Elden Ring video for you guys, and today is all about this build that, I cooked up recently because, it's pretty broken. And, to those of you who are in a hurry, here is the TLDR. Yeah, Impenetrable Thorns. It's kind of nuts, and really, really good, highly buffable, and yeah, I'll go over the basics of it right now. This did take quite a bit of testing to kind of get everything like maximized in a way, and if there is something that is like slightly better, I'll talk about some of the alternatives, things like that. This is Schmoozle, my main character, level 422. Definitely not necessary to be at that high of a level. But yeah, this is what it comprises of. Basically, Staff of the Guilty, you want 2 of those. Sacred Seal, any will work, doesn't matter, it's just for casting buffs. Alberich's set, specifically you want the hat, the robe, and the bracers, and really anything you feel comfortable with for the pants. I'm going with Rakshasa for the extra damage. This is purely a glass cannon kind of setup. Magic Scorpion Charm, Graven School Talisman, Graven Mass Talisman, and there's not really a 4th talisman that passively buffs like the others. So Lord of Blood's Exploitation, because even if you're not putting points into Arcane, this is a build that is going to proc bleed very quickly, which is pretty unique, actually. So, essentially, you're also going to want Golden Vow, Hellish Brewery, Bestial Vitality, and optionally Terra Magica and Rhaenys Dark Moon, although highly recommended. And of course, the star of the show, Impenetrable Thorns. Now, about the spell itself. Impenetrable Thorns. This is a new Thorn sorcery added in the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. And you can kind of tell because of the placement in the spell list. So Mantle of Thorns is the other new one. But yeah, before the DLC, we just had Briars of Punishment and Briars of Sin, which neither were that great. And what was unique about these is you only needed Faith. You didn't need Intelligence or Arcane to cast either of these. And for Impenetrable Thorns, surprisingly, you only need 24 Faith. So let's look at the description. Sorcery of those who abandoned the practice of incantations after devout faith rewarded them with only despair. Summons the Scadutree's Impenetrable Thorns from the ground. The sorcery can be used repeatedly. So, anyway, the image of the twisted Scadutree is an edict. Denounce their ways, do them harm, for they've abandoned us. So this is not, as I thought before, a chargeable spell. It seemed to be at first. I thought when I was holding the input it took a little bit longer and it was charging, but it's not. But since it can be used repeatedly, once you cast it, subsequent casts, if you do the repeated inputs, do come out a little bit faster. However, it should be noted that each cast does take your health down a little bit and increase bleed buildup a little bit. So essentially the basic numbers, they look like this. So for the current equipment, Rakshasa armor pieces, they have a plus 2% to all damage output. And I am going to specify like the different types of buffs here. So yes, Rakshasa, all damage output. Alberich's armor pieces, which we have 3, is a plus 6% per piece to Thorn Sorcery. Staff of the Guilty, which we have 2, one in actual casting and one in the offhand, each has plus 20% to Thorn Sorcery. So already for Thorn Sorcery, we have, let's see, 40 and 18, so 58% increase to that, like, buff, that damage type. The Graven Mass Talisman has plus 8% just to any sorcery. Graven School is plus 4%, again, to any sorcery, so that's 12%. Magic Scorpion Charm is a plus 12% to magic damage. That's any magic damage output. And then Magic Shrouding Crack Tier, because that is, the Crack Tier is a part of the Flask of Wonders Physic. It is a unique buff, but it is a plus 20% to total magic damage output, kind of like the Magic Scorpion Charm. I don't know if it's calculated in the same way because of, the Flask of Wonders Physic, but let's just assume for now that it does. Bloodsucking Crack Tier is also a plus 20%, but that's to all damage output. However, you will be losing ticks of health consistently for 3 minutes, so you do have to keep an eye on your HP. And Golden Vow, the spell version, is a plus 15% damage output. That's your aura buff. Howl of Shabriri is a plus 25% increase to all damage output. That's your body buff. And Terra Magica, optional, but it is a plus 22.5% damage increase to all magic damage. Now that's magic damage output. So for magic damage output, we have plus 22.5. We got the plus 20, so from the Magic Shroud and Crack tiers, 42.5. And then the 12% from the Magic Scorpion Charm, so 54.5. So anyway, with everything totaled together, and this isn't necessarily how they stack, but with everything totaled together, we have a whopping 186.5% increase. But there are also other things that we could do to theoretically get the damage higher, but it comes down to time limits. So, a Lord of Blood's Exaltation. Notice I didn't mention that one, because it's only when blood loss occurs, and it only lasts for 20 seconds. However, it is a 20% damage increase. Now this can be further increased with White Mask, which has a similar effect, and it does stack, and it's an extra 10%, so 30%. But again, it only lasts for 20 seconds, which you could technically start the fight with blood loss with something like, for example, where is it? Seppuku, which immediately does blood loss and will trigger that buff. In fact, we can see that difference right now. If I go ahead and equip this, because if you're curious if buffs are active or not, you can always go into the menu and hit triangle or whatever the top face button is or button mapping is for you. And switch view right is the input. As you can see, we have for right-handed armaments 1 and 2, 222 and 542, or sorry, 222 and 452. And I do have Lord of Blood's Exaltation equipped. So, if I switch to that, initiate Seppuku, you can see that went up to 266 and 579, so that is active. But in 20 seconds, that will drop back down to normal. So, basically, if you're stringing together buffs, you will want to do this one last, because it is the shortest. See, it's already worn off. It is the shortest in the list. So, when it comes down to time limits, the longest one you have is the Flask of Wonders Physic. Both of these will last for 3 minutes, which, yeah, is way longer than anything else in this list. Next one up would be Golden Vow, which, the spell version again, lasts for 80 seconds. So that's pretty good, 1 minute and 20 seconds. Then it's Howl of Shabriri, which is 40 seconds, so a little bit shorter. So essentially you would drink the flask, then Golden Vow, then Hellish Brewery, and then Seppuku. I also recommend bringing Bestial Vitality, because it does heal you slowly over time. In fact, if you're worried about survivability, you could also use the Blessed Dew Talisman, which I believe stacks and will also heal slowly over time, although the effect, even though it is passive, is lesser, so I don't think it really deserves its own talisman slot, to be honest. Yeah, and then you just cast Terra Magica. Ranni's Dark Moon is another one that is totally optional here, and it does have a pretty high intelligence requirement of, I believe, 68. Yes, 68, yes. And it does take 2 slots, so if you're earlier on in the game, you're like, investing in strength and faith and intelligence is kind of a lot, you could drop this one, but it does help inflict frostbite, and it does do a unique debuff to enemies where they take 10% more magic damage, so that is very, very helpful. And the setup is actually very useful against pretty much every enemy in the game, like anything that takes magic damage. This is on journey 40 right now, I believe. So against Renala, it actually did not do very well, at least in the first phase, so I kind of abandoned it for something else pretty quickly. Yeah, begin journey 41. But Renala does not take a lot of magic damage, so that's kind of the point there, especially on higher New Game Plus cycles. So, we can kind of just show... I don't really have a good boss lined up right now to showcase this, but here where we just were at Giant's Grave Post and Mountaintops of the Giants, there are these guys walking around that are quite tanky. And I don't think this will one-shot them, but it'll get pretty close. So we'll just go ahead and do the buff stack here. And if you want to run Mimic Tier with this, it does work. That actually is why I have 2 of these staves upgraded to plus 25, because I found when I was summoning Mimic Tier to help out, he was casting with the unupgraded staff pretty frequently for some reason. That's a stump. Yeah, so 15,000, but I think that was also an unaware bonus. But that is another special attribute to the spell that I don't know if is intentional or not. Essentially, if you cast from point blank range, it does significantly more damage. I think the reason being is it's hitting more times consecutively than it can do from a distance. Probably. So, same situation here. Let's do Golden Vow. Hellish Brewery. But this time I'm going to keep my distance. I'm not going to do either of those. So yeah, 4,000, significantly less. And we already got bleed. And I'm already dead. Which does make sense because this is 100% a glass cannon build. I think after Hellish Brewery I have negative damage negation. So without any buffs, we are at, yeah, like less than 5 for all the physical types. Let's go ahead and drink that and do Golden Vow, which does help with the defense a little bit. And Hellish Brewery. And yeah, we're at negative 10-ish. So, not great. So you definitely want to be careful on this. For the sake of being thorough, I am going to show it with Terra Magica and Rennie's Dark Moon first. So let's go ahead and cast that. Hopefully that'll still connect. Yep. So like 5,000. So significantly more, still not nearly as much as from Point Blank. So if you want to pull that off on bosses, either it's going to take multiple tries to get that Point Blank hit, or for some of the bosses in the game, they kind of take a while to start doing their thing. They just kind of give you an opening at the beginning of the fight, which there are a good amount of bosses that do that. But yeah, this stack is very deadly. And as a little comparison, like, I think it's because of how the buffs stack, but I tried the White Mask and Lord of Blood Exaltation combo with the Initiating Blood Loss from Seppuku. And even though theoretically it should be more damage, it was actually coming out as less. Not by much, but a little bit less. And I don't know why. So let's go ahead and try that. And again, it's only 20 seconds, so honestly I think it's better just to use the Hat of Alberich instead, but let's see if this can one-shot. It's about the same, 14,000 point blank. So yeah, and it's also only good for 20 seconds. Wait, did I do Seppuku? I may have forgot to do Seppuku. Okay, never mind. Let's try that again just to be sure. Like that. Golden Vow, which is 80 seconds. We should have more than enough time. In case you're unaware, Howl of Shabriri also aggroes enemies nearby. So if you're trying to get that unaware bonus, then maybe, you know, cast a little bit further away. And for that I didn't use Terra Magica or the other ones, so let's just go ahead and do this. He already noticed, that's bad. Okay. Okay, so that was 17,000. But that may have counted as a headshot, because his head was very low. And on most enemies, headshots do increase damage. So let's try to buff a little bit further away this time. And then use Torrent to close the distance. I don't think from this distance he's going to... Oh, he noticed. And that missed, wow. Oh, 17,000, okay. I believe that was still active. So it actually is a little bit more. But again, by the time you do your buffs and then you run into the fight, you really only have a few seconds to, like, get that hit off, and yeah, it may or may not be worth it, plus also having a piece of equipment on that's only for Seppuku is going to weigh you down like a little bit if you're trying to go for the white, or for the light equip load, so it is a little bit more. But I still don't think it's worth it. Plus, the one that's going to make the larger difference is Lord of Blood's Exaltation. So just having that on, like, pretty good. pretty good. So, but not relying on it is also pretty great. Because once you have all those stacks going and then you get the bleed proc, especially for the longer fights, you'll probably still have like Golden Vow and Hellish Brewery active, at least Golden Vow. And definitely the Flask Wonders Physic. But if you're curious as to where to farm these things, you may, and by these things I do mean the Staff of the Guilty. I am also going to show that real quick. I'm not going to show where to get every piece of equipment for this, that would take too long. And there's already excellent videos that do exactly that on YouTube, so just wanted to keep this short and sweet. So let's take the Sacred Relic Sword here, best farming tool, and let's get a little bit better defense. Without going into heavy. Let's go with the classic schmoozle look. And typically during Elden Ring streams, I am trying out like different types of builds and stuff like that. So if you guys want to hang out and check that out at some point, I'm usually streaming on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays here on the channel. So that is what that's about. And let's go ahead and switch this out for Shard of Alexander, and we have like no arcane right now, so Silver Scarab Discovery's at 184. We'll change Magic Scorpion Charm out for Sacred Scorpion Charm. And just for funsies, Two-Handed Sword Talisman, one of my favorite new talismans in the DLC. Because it's just so many uses. And we'll go for Holy Shroud and Cracked here. And basically I don't recommend starting here, but nearby. We're going to want to go to White Ridge Road. But since it is so close, I'm just going to cross this Dark Souls 2 / God of War-esque chain bridge. Which, yes, God of War did it first, but, you know, semantics. Alright, so any of these casters here with these, like, staves, they will cast Thorn sorceries, and they can drop the Staff of the Guilty. And there we go. Those are the Thorn sorceries. So, I'm just gonna pop Golden Vow here. Drink the flask. And just waves of gold, all of these guys. Now, they don't aggro super well. A lot of them will give up pretty quickly, and they're pretty slow. And sometimes they just fall off the cliff, which is also not great. It is a rare drop, supposedly at like 1% or 2%, something like that. But honestly, usually in the first run, like, I'll get one out of all these guys, even without putting points into Arcane and stuff, so I don't think it's actually that hard to farm. Got some Fire Prelate Greaves, those are pretty good, honestly. Yeah, most of the time they'll just drop Smoldering Butterflies. And these fire monks can sneak up on you sometimes, so highly recommend just, whoops, dealing with them before they become a problem. Okay, just another smoldering butterfly. We got a few more over here. Oh, no drop. No drop. Oh, there's another one. But yeah, a lot of these will just like get launched off the cliff, so sometimes it's a good idea to like aggro them over to you first. Like the other guys, who cares, right? But yeah, the casters are what we want. And apparently Torrent's not coming for some reason. And I'm not seeing any... Oh, I think I missed one over here. Yeah. Yeah, so didn't get any on that run. Let's see, what are we at? 26 minutes, so yeah, we'll do one more. Let's see if we can get a drop here. Again, just gonna drink that, get a little extra damage. Pop Golden Vow, get a little extra defense and damage. And let's get some Hallows Bestial Vitality. No drop there. I did put the... yeah, it's... the item discovery talisman. Just making sure I actually put it on. Oh. Nope, smoldering butterfly. Okay. Nope, smoldering butterfly. Oh, smoldering butterfly. Just gonna take care of the fire prelate first, because that's the most dangerous enemy here. No drop. Come on, get over here. I don't want you falling off a cliff now. Well, yeah, that's the more powerful one. Oh my goodness, all these little stumps and stuff. No. Ow. Another smoldering butterfly. Oh yeah, it's L2. Was I thinking it was strong attack? That's weird. Yeah, no drop there. Yes, I know there's a teardrop scarab with Prelate's charge nearby. I'm just gonna do it from this angle. And smoldering butterfly. Wow. I think that was the last one too, unless I skipped that same one at the beginning. Which I may have. Excuse me. Nope. That's all of them. So we didn't get it that time. But that's fine. It's a pretty fast farm, and honestly, there's a lot of enemies of this type here, so let's go for a few more minutes. Really like to get one drop for the video, if possible. Oh, no. Now the item drop does look a little bit different. Like it's got that like darker, kind of like purple tinge to it. It is kind of hard to tell though, with like all the snow on the ground, kind of white on white. Yeah, this one is really close to the ledge, so I just don't want it to fall. Oh, smoldering butterfly. No. Oh, smoldering butterfly. Really not getting good drops this time. Got a flunk amongst flame maze though. Got a flunky's flame maze. Yeah, may as well grab that. Oh, I aggroed you. Alright, perfect. Knock the other guys off? No? Oh, that would be the fire prelate. Oh, smoldering butterfly. Oh, that hurt. Oh, and I'm out. Alright. Ordinarily, I wouldn't care, but 1.3 million is kind of a lot. Even for my character right now, when it takes like 2.1 million to level, so yeah, it's kind of a lot. But anyway, if you have a lot of Arcane or even just a spare larval tier, definitely recommend re-speccing into Arcane if you want that max item discovery, and optionally also using one of the silver Foulfoot things or the horn tenders, and you know, just get that item discovery as high as possible. But yeah, I think that's pretty much gonna do it for today. So yeah, once again guys, thanks for being here, greatly appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have you tried a setup like this? If not, definitely recommend it. It's very fun to use. Impenetrable Thorns, probably going to get nerfed in the next patch. We'll see. Hopefully this video comes out before the next patch update, because then I'd have to probably adjust some of the numbers and some of the stuff. But anyway, we'll see. So yeah, Thanks for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed. And of course, before we get going, a very special thank you going out to the current Farts and Crap Show members, the amazing people who make it possible. Novellis, Draconis, Don Sabino, and Aaron Schick. Thank you all so much for choosing to support the show a bit more directly via channel membership. Vastly helps out. Very much appreciate it. And if you guys want to be incredibly awesome like them and get in on all those membership benefits, check out that join button down below. There's also a link in the description that talks about becoming a channel member in case you happen to be on a platform that doesn't have a join button. But yeah, tiers start at $3 a month. It's only 10 cents a day, gets you into all the basic stuff, including getting to vote on the series that get made here on the channel via the members' choice polls. It's a thing we do once a month for a full 7 days, so 25% of the time we do have one going. And we probably have one going right now if you guys are watching this before August 1st, 2024. Yeah, that's to decide the next Retro Classic series. Since Resident Evil HD wrapped up a little while ago, it's going to be one of the recent RC Samples videos made into a full series. So, yeah, that's how you get in on that. And if you are a recent channel member, any of the previous Members' Choice polls you may have missed, you can still vote on those over in the Membership tab. They basically stay open until you vote, and then, so yeah, even if you're just a member for a month, you can still just go back, vote on every single Member's Choice poll, and then still influence some of the content that gets made here for quite some time. But that is... these are, however, these are an approximation of future announcements from the past. So if you guys want all the announcements as they happen and the bell doesn't work out for you, I totally get it. The bell doesn't work for me either. But there's 3 other ways you can stay up to date. The community tab here on the channel, the Farts and Crap Show Twitter, or the Discord. I always post on all 3 whenever there's an announcement, so regardless of which one of those works for you, you can stay up to date. And links for those are also down in the description and on the channel banner. But that's going to do it for today. So, thank you all once again for being here, guys. Till next time, take care, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.